What am I even supposed to say? The previous two entries in this trilogy competed for our worst horror movie in back-to-back years. There's no hope going into this, no potential to turn things around. There is only pain. This is The Strangers, Chapter 3. Welcome everyone to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Tim.
Is Timura home?
Timura?
Timura?
Timura? Is that the lady version of or the male version of Tamara?
Yes.
Timara? Okay. Having said that, Tam is also a man's name, so it could just be Tam-ara as well.
Tam.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard someone named Tam.
I've heard of a Tam. It's maybe it's more of an Asian name, but it is. I've heard it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Short for Timothy.
I don't think so. No, but I think it's short for Timur actually.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. There you go. Tim just starting off with some casual racism. All right, let's get on with the show, everyone. It's a horror movie podcast. We get together and we talk about a movie we watched. It's that simple. And unfortunately, today we are getting something out of the way that we have been dreading doing, and that is The Strangers Chapter 3. Why were we dreading it, you might ask? Well, because Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 were absolutely atrocious and were both in contention for the worst movies of their respective years. So, here we are. We'll start spoiler-free as we always do. We'll give you a warning before we get into the spoilers, if you care. And, of course, you can support everything over at Patreon, and I'll tell you more about that at the end. Yes, Tim?
I just want to say that I did watch this at night, so, yes, I agree. I was dreading it, and I was dreading it at sundown.
Is that a reference to the town that dreaded sundown?
Yeah.
Is it just because the character in that also wears a sack over his head, or was that even a part of your thought process?
No, it's because we're a horror podcast, you doofus.
It's a very specific movie from the 70s to reference, though, Tim.
Well, I'm sorry, but when you use the word dread in like 5 times in one sentence, that's where my mind's going to.
There's got to be another horror movie with the word dread in the title.
Well, Judge Dredd don't count, buddy. So
I know, yes, or Dread, for that matter. I agree. The Dread and Breakfast? No, that's not a real movie.
I do like that title, though. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure you do.
If someone wants it for free.
Oh, sure. So, yes, obviously we hated the last two of these. We're going to dive in here. You can tell we're in a bit of a mood with it because, the last one especially was pretty torturous. So, hey, how will it continue on? And as much as we'll start spoiler-free for this one, obviously it picks up where the last one left off. So, naturally, spoilers for the last two are just going to be immediately here. So, be aware of that before we start talking about it properly. But, yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning that despite waiting a year between the first two, they shot this one out like in February, after the previous one was October. So they wanted to just get rid of this. They wanted to like put it out, just be done with it. So it was only like 4 months between 2 and 3, and it was already out. So we didn't see it in theaters because there was no way we were going to prioritize it. But here we are to dot the I's, cross the T's.
I will say I was astonished that all 3 of these did actually make it to theaters. Like, I thought after the first one, they were like, maybe just count our losses and it's just like straight to streaming or whatever. So I guess I'll give them credit for the fact that they did actually release these.
Credit. I mean, the funny thing is that the third one I never like saw a trailer for, like, because I remember getting the trailer for the second one like several times in the build up to it coming out. I never saw a single trailer for this one, so I don't know if maybe like even if the first one didn't do well, they said, well, we'll still make a real solid effort with the second one. But when the second one did even worse, they're like, okay, we're not even going to try this time. We're just going to shut it out and just hope everyone forgets about it.
I don't remember seeing a trailer in theaters, but I feel like I saw a bunch of like, online ads, just just 10-second ones saying like, witness the final chapter. It's like, no, thank you.
Yep. Unfortunately, though, you were obligated to be here, so here we are to continue getting more and more. Remember how in the last one we complained that they did a flashback to explain why they say is Tamara here? Do you want even more flashbacks going through like their timeline of like? Honestly, I was expecting to get flashbacks of how they ended up getting masks, and that never quite happened. But we do get the fallout of what they did in the flashbacks in the last movie. We get them as angsty teenagers. we get all sorts.
What's so funny is, like, we had flashbacks for like out of the 3 killers, and at one point in the movie I was kind of like, so we're just like not going to know anything about the third one, and then they go boop, right into, okay, here's where that person comes into play. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Here's your explanation for that. Do not worry. And honestly, I was really worried at the start of this movie because, like, after a little sort of like prologue intro scene, it's like, oh, we're picking up with Maya right after the end of the last one, and she's walking through the woods, and I'm like, oh my god, is she just going to be on the run again for 80 minutes like last time? Are we just doing that again? To be fair, it does change course fairly quickly. And in a better like writer and director's hands, like maybe this is the one that could have been interesting because of the things that it does differently. But it's so poorly done. It's so like hackneyed, and you care so little about her as a character, so little about who the killers are, that the things that it's doing that potentially could have been interesting in a better, like, oh, we're going to subvert what these movies actually are, it just all falls flat, and you just find yourself sitting there bored, and you spend half the movie going to these flashbacks as well. So the whole thing's just a bit of a trying of my patience, frankly. Anyway, Tim, what did you think of The Strangers Chapter 3?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna dawdle on it. I thought it was awful. Kind of similar to what you're saying. If I'm gonna give it the smallest molecule of credit,
molecule. You went subatomic. All right.
I guess I would say that yes, this is the one that is probably the most interesting of the 3 that's doing the thing that is most different. And like I wonder too. But I mean, again, does that really count for much when it's still like shit?
Do you know what's funny about it is that it's weird how they kind of parallel the modern Halloween trilogy in a lot of ways.
Interesting. Oh, right. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's interesting.
Right, except of course, like as much as we had problems with those movies, right, those first 2 especially, for different reasons. Although to be honest, the second Halloween, Halloween Kills, I think actually crossed over into like, this is hilarious, I'm actually so kind of enjoying how bad it is, sort of stuff. And then the third one was interesting because it was doing something different, even with faults and all. This trilogy is just so much, like, you almost respect that trilogy more because this trilogy is so much more painfully dull to actually sit through, that you're like, yeah, say what you want about those Halloween movies, at least stuff happened, things were going on, there was characters that I wanted to live and die, well, die at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think we mentioned it before, in the other reviews, but I just find it so baffling, like the cockiness, when they announce like this trilogy, because, and I'm sure if you go back and like listen to us talk about it on like some preview episodes or something, like I probably said like, you know what, I'm maybe intrigued or possibly even slightly excited for this because, the way they're talking about, like, oh my god, like, Renny Harlin has this like amazing idea and it's so good that we're not doing one movie, we're doing a whole trilogy. And it's like, like the way they talked about it is just like, this is so like brilliant that it has to be 3 movies.
Yeah, it felt like a big swing, right? It felt like a big swing. We're doing a whole trilogy. We're going to shoot the whole thing and we're going to release it back to back years, and it's going to be a whole thing. Like, it sounds like, hey, we've got ambition. And then you watch the first one and you're like, there is no ambition here. There is not even a shred of creativity or a spark or any desire to do something like unique or exciting. It's just going through these motions of dreariness.
Yeah, so I wonder if like, part of the way it got sold was, because of the angle this third one takes, and then I wonder if, part of the pitch was always that, oh, it had to be a trilogy and this is how it, culminates, or if it was like, okay, here's my idea, and they're like, oh, well, like, let's stretch it out and like save that for the end, and then, we have to create some filler because, yeah, like maybe it might be hard to condense this all into one movie, but it's 3 is way too much. Like the first 2 movies could easily be squeezed together, and then like
honestly, I think you could do it as one movie. I think you could do the entire because. Don't get me wrong, the first movie kind of took a lot from the original Strangers, so you can sort of say, well, that was only just one movie and it's basically copying that for the most part. That is true, but you could easily make that into just the first act. The middle act is the second movie, which is mostly a chase, and then the third act is what this movie does. And I think you can feel, because of how it's stretched out over 3 movies, it feels painfully slow-paced, because it wants to milk it into 3 movies, and you can feel that. You can feel that stretching in real time as we just go through motions and repeat chase sequences throughout the entire second movie. And then here, yeah, we're doing something slightly different, but it almost feels like the only reason why we have all these flashbacks is because, well, this is 3 movies. We have to fill that time with something. Right. So here's, here's kid version of the killers looking, creepy or... Like, and I swear, like, obviously it's a different actor because they get aged up to like teens or whatever. But every version of the actress who is doing the female killer is like so over the top with like, I'm going to look intense the entire time, and that's all I do. I just look intense, and I speak in a very intense way. Like that's all she is, and it's just so over the top. Oh dear.
And as much as we're getting like a backstory for them, we still really don't have any motive for them. like essentially, like the backstory is just like, okay, so they kill people. Still don't really know why. It's just like we show flashbacks of them killing.
Yeah, like, which isn't a problem inherently. Like, there's no reason why Michael Myers kills people. There's no reason why. Lots of slasher villains kill people. That part's not really that important. In fact, if anything, it may be creepy if they just don't have a reason. In fact, The Strangers was kind of built on they just don't have a reason. They're just doing it cause. However, flashbacks inherently imply that we're getting an explanation, except there is no explanation. It's just they've always been killers. The end. That's it. That's the whole thing.
And again, it's like you said, like, oh yeah, we find out why they say is Tamara home or something, but it's like that's not like a thing we ever needed a backstory for. Like we never really cared about that. And also it kind of annoys me that like, oh, that's like a thing that they always do. Like I forget if they did that in the second movie or whatever, but it would have been creepier if they just kind of did that in the first one, and then like every time they go to a new house, like they say something different or whatever. Like I don't like that it's like almost this ritual thing, I
mean, I don't think they did it in present day in the second one, but the second one was the one that had the flashbacks where we got the explanation for it, so they did bring it up in the second movie.
I meant like not of this trilogy.
Oh, you
like
mean
the
this,
other
Pray at Night? Okay, right.
Yeah.
I have no idea if I don't remember if they said it in that. They said it in the original. I remember that, but
yeah.
The second one, I could not tell. I remember very little about that movie except the truck being driven into various mobile homes and a swimming pool, and I think that's all I remember.
Yeah. I thought it was like a decent enough, like, it's not amazing, but I mean, I'd gladly take it over any of these movies.
Oh, it looks like Citizen Kane compared to these 3 pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more, because I feel like anything I want to talk about, I just want to start yelling about it, so like spoilers are just kind of going to be like incoming here. So spoiler warning now. I know it's a little bit early for the spoiler warning, but honestly, you do not care. I know you don't care. Like at this point, we have talked about how awful these movies are twice already. We're saying this one is just as bad. In some ways, arguably worse, because now we're in the third one, so our patience is worn so thin that any attempt to try and pretend that we care, like on the movie's behalf, I mean, like when you're watching the movie and it's like, hey, don't you care that we're revealing this about this character's thing? Like, no, I don't care. In fact, every reveal they give us is so painfully been obvious since day one that it has no impact, it has no shock value. It's just like, oh, I guess we've quietly confirmed that this character's this, or that this character is doing this, and so on. So we'll get into spoilers then. So There's an opening prologue, mainly just to give us like a kill sequence because they knew there wouldn't be that many of them. So they're like, hey, let's do a flashback to a couple of years ago where a victim comes to a motel and the strangers show up and grab her and kill her. That's it. It takes like, this is a good 8-minute sequence, and that's it. I just summed it all up because there's like, what is there to say really? Woman gets a room at a motel. The person at the desk looks kind of suspicious, very Norman Bates-esque, as she gives her room 24, as if room 24 is the kill room. Like, hey, like, you know, so, all right.
I'll be honest, I completely forgot about this scene until you just mentioned it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It's not, because the only thing really that comes from it, I guess, other than suggesting the motel worker is the third one of the trio, is after they kill this woman who they've tied to a chair, the male, who I guess is Scarecrow, and the main girl, Shelley, the one that was revealed at the end of the last movie, they're kind of like kissing with their masks on, and the third one's kind of looking at them. I don't know if she's jealous or whatever, but then it like snaps cuts to like her lying dead in present day, and it's like, okay, so it's showing how much he cared about her right at the start of the movie, so that we can then move on with everything and do whatever we're going to do for the rest of it. So,
are the female killers are they like labeled as like, is it Babyface and Dollface or something like that?
The third one is Dollface. I'd have to click on the actor here because it's kind of cut off on IMDb's thing. Pinup is the other one.
Oh, Pinup. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know, like they, the masks like don't really look like that different.
No, they're very similar. Yeah, I like
each other.
I was struggling. Well, it's easy now because one's dead. But before I was struggling at times to know which one was which. Because I think in the original,
clearly that's a doll and that one's a pinup. Obviously, I mean. Well,
in the original movie, and I'm pretty sure I complained about this in the first, in chapter 1. But in the original Strangers, one of them had blonde hair, and it was easy to tell which one was which based on the hair. So here, they made it difficult because they're both got dark hair tied back. So it's like, okay, well, I guess we just have to imagine the fire. I don't know why my mind went to Bane, but it did. It went to Bane. So it's like, okay, Madelaine Petsch's character watches them, like, axe the body a bit more, I guess, I don't know, but she just stumbles into the woods, faffs around a little bit.
Wait, is this after the scene with her in the church?
No, this is before she gets to the church. So she wanders in the forest and then eventually finds the church.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I guess we'll talk about that next, which is she gets to a church, there's a bunch of candles lit, and in walks the kind of the tall guy who was intimidating last movie, right, who had the smile tattoo on his neck. And he was like, and I remember talking about him being like, oh, they're laying it on so thick that he's probably the killer, that it would be really, really, really boring if he is just the killer. But at the same time, they're laying it on so thick, it's like, well, it's almost unjustifiable how heavy they're laying it on if he isn't, right? And they basically kind of reveal that he is here, because he comes into the church, it's kind of tense, well, it's supposed to be tense. I'm not saying I felt it, but like, he stares at her, she stares back at him, he sits down, he pours a drink, and he basically says no masks here, and then starts talking about the fact that he loved the girl who she just killed. And I'm like, oh, so you're just admitting that you're the masked killer then? This feels really underwhelming, the way you're just bringing this up right now.
I didn't feel like any tension at all in this scene, and yeah, I feel like we talked about it a lot when we talked about chapter 2, but again, this feels like, antithetical to the entire appeal of the original movie, which is just the fact that, this is called The Strangers. These are strangers. You don't know who they are. It's random. We don't know anything about them. We don't know their motives. We know nothing, and that's what makes it like cool and scary and everything. And now, I mean, we've already been getting the flashbacks and stuff from the other movies, but yeah, now you're just straight up saying like, I'm the killer. Like it's just it's so like insane to me that they took like the one interesting thing about this franchise or whatever, and decide to like completely get rid of it. Like it's still so dumb. I can't get over it.
Yeah, they kind of crossed that Rubicon by the end of the last movie with those flashbacks to them being kids, and then this movie just like, there's no like pretending at any point that we're just not going to reveal everything and just talk about stuff in the open and completely ruin any mystique that we're supposed to have in the first place. And the weird part here is that he seems to like, because he basically says no masks here, which is implying that, I won't hurt you here. This is sacred ground. And I'm like, so are you religious and you won't kill in a church? Or like, what's the reason? Because he lets her go. He tells her to get lost.
Yeah, which I kind of found confusing because it did kind of seem like, and he says something like, I guess we're even because like, hey, I killed the person you loved, you killed the person I loved, and then he's like, I'll let you go. So it kind of seems like, okay, so I guess she's good. But then it's like, what, just like a minute later, he just like, when she leaves, he just like grabs her. Yeah,
she interacts with the sheriff a bit first, but yeah. Well, I think...
Right.
Well, the implication from the rest of it is basically that, like, so we get through the other flashbacks, actually. We'll do all those first. So the flashbacks after this is we get a flashback to when he's a kid, and it's after... It's actually, because remember, it was the girl. It was Shelley who killed the girl, right, with the rock. And those flashbacks at the end of the last movie. But he kind of came up and took the blame for her. So we cut to like a court hearing, and we find out, this is the reveal of this, the sheriff, played by Richard Brake, who's been kind of also looking creepy and like he's up to something all three movies. He's his father. And he's in court, again, getting the sentence from the judge. And this is the most like bullshit contrived writing ever. Where the judge... Yeah, on you go.
Can I just say, so most of the movie I thought was pretty dull and boring, but I will say this scene actually did make me laugh quite a bit, just because the judge basically addresses this boy who murdered someone the same way that like I would talk to my child when they like, say a bad word or, throw some of their food at dinner or something. Like he literally says like, like, I'm gonna let you go, but you better not do it again, young man. I'm like, this is a like I don't know. This did like have me laughing. I was like, okay, if the movie was like this stupid the entire time through, I might find it more like entertaining in a very bad way. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But I did think this was funny.
Yeah, I just like, I mean, well, one, I'm actually now questioning the day that Wyatt comes in with a rock in his hand, dripping in blood. And he's like, Father, you must help me cover up my murder. What will Tim do, everyone? What will he do? But yeah, so the judge basically says, look, you brutally beat a girl to death, right? That's pretty heinous. So, everything says I should be throwing the book at you and putting you in juvie. But given that your dad's been such a good sheriff, I'm going to put you into his custody. But if you slip up once, you'll be locked up till you're at least 18. And, Richard Brake, sheriff, is like, oh, thank you, Your Honor. And that's like that flashback. We get the next flashback, though, which is that he's in the woods and his dad is with him. And it does like a flashback within a flashback because the dad's like, what have you done? And it flashes back to what he did in the woods, which he killed a hitchhiker or a camper in the woods with an axe, whilst Shelley, the girl who was his partner in crime, just watches, just menacingly, just been like that's her whole thing. She just stares with this evil look in her face and watches as he kills him. And she's like, oh, that was your first, because technically she killed the girl, right? Even though he took the blame for it. So it's like, oh, we're both killers now. And when the dad finds the body, he's like, I knew this would happen again. You know what, son? You gotta promise me no more townsfolk. Basically saying, people will notice if people who live in the town die, but outsiders are fair game. Strangers, you might say. Strangers are fair game. I'll cover this up for you. And this seems to be the beginning of, oh, my son is just a rampant serial killer. I'm going to spend the rest of my life covering his crimes up.
This made me really mad because I had that revelation too, where I was like, oh my god, so like, is the whole point of this movie is that they're like, oh, when we say we're gonna like, have you get to know the strangers, and so then you're gonna start to realize that the actual strangers are like the people, from outside of town that they're killing or whatever, like some bullshit thing. I was like, oh god. I don't know. thought that was so stupid.
The way he just immediately goes to, I'll help you cover this up, is so rushed that it just is kind of laughable. And then it skips ahead again, right? A later flashback. We've got different actors now. They've aged them up to like 14, 15 or whatever age they're supposed to be. And they're waiting at a garage, a gas station for Americans. And they're just waiting outside, waiting for like, passers-throughs who they can kill. And they're just sort of like looking at various people and like, oh, what about them? Like, they're too old. Nah, they're too big. They'll overpower us. Mm-hmm. And Shelley says, and again, she says everything, even though she's just saying, I'm going to go in and get something to eat. Do you want anything? Which should be the most non-menacing sentence ever. Is like, hey, do you want a snack? She still says it with that same intensity that she says everything else because she's evil, everyone. But she goes into the store, and keep in mind, she is clearly meant to be like 14, 15 at this point. Yeah. And some like 22-year-old sees her and comes over and is like, hey, pretty girl, what you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just looking for something to eat. And he's like, do you want help? I can help you with that. I'm good with my hands. And I'm like, you're openly flirting in a public space with someone who's it's not someone who's like just borderline, who's like, oh, maybe you're mistaken as like being like of a legal age. This is someone who is clearly way underage. Yeah. And then immediately this guy's girlfriend comes up behind him and says, oh my God, you're doing it again. What do you mean again?
I forgot, that did make me laugh as well. Yes, the very brazenly flirting with someone much too young for you, like that was so dumb and over the top that was kind of funny. But it did crack me up, the fact that like it seems like his girlfriend was like 2 feet behind him. Like, he wasn't even like, all right, my girlfriend's out for the night or whatever, I can hit on someone. It was like, oh, my girlfriend's probably not going to notice, she's checking some snacks over there, let me try to just quickly hit on this girl. Like, again, like, this is the kind of dumb, stupid, like over the top stuff that's like, oh, if maybe there's more of this in the movie, it might be like kind of entertaining in a bad way.
What was his plan if he scored here? Like, what if Shelley was like, yeah, do you want to go somewhere? What was he just going to like run away and leave his girlfriend comes out like the vanish and is like, where's my boyfriend went?
Right.
Oh, yeah. I'm stranded here with no one around. What's happening? So basically, when she goes back outside, this couple come out arguing, and like, what's his name? Gregory, Scarecrow. He's like, teenagers, him is like a bit of a punk, and he's staring at them. And then Shelley's like, oh, I ran into him inside. He's an asshole. And it's like, oh, victims picked out. And the big twist here is when they go to the motel, which is room 24, the same one from the opening flashback. They knock on the door. They say, is Tamara here? No one answers. They say again, no one answers. They break in. Plot twist. The girl of this couple has already murdered her boyfriend. And this is establishing that she ended up joining the crew because she'd killed someone. And it's meant to kind of feed into this idea that because Maya killed Shelley, that even though obviously he's pissed that the love of his life is now dead, he's like, oh, she can be one of us now. She can be a killer. Which is kind of what we suggested at the end of the last movie, is that, oh, maybe they're going to go down this route of her becoming like the new member. I did not expect the entire thing to be the strangers themselves trying to force her into it, because that's effectively what this movie ends up becoming, is like they kidnap her after she like runs away from the sheriff. But she runs into the sheriff, who again, like, laying it on so thick. Can I use your phone, sheriff? Long pause. Oh, I don't get any signal out here. Long pause. And then he sort of snickers and gives her a little laugh, and I'm like, are you trying to like make her feel like you're about to do ungodly things to her? Because that's every vibe that you're sending out right now. Is that like, it's this red flag upon red flag. It's just a sea of red flags coming from this guy. But she steals his car, and then within 30 seconds drives it into a tree. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? Why is this character so incompetent?
That's a great questions. I don't know.
Do you know what, Tim? I don't drive. I've never learned to drive. I would like to think that in a crisis, if I got the car started, I think I would do a better job of not hitting a tree for a long stretch of time more than she did. And she's driving. She's a driver.
Well, like, you've played video games before, right? Like, you understand the concept of like, hold the wheel straight and press the gas, like,
Yes.
you know.
You make sure the handbrake's not on. Push down with your foot and steer and don't hit anything. Right? Don't get me wrong. Eventually, because I've not learned to drive properly, I will hit a roadblock. I will hit something where, oh, how do I do this part? I don't actually know. But on a long country road, I think I'll get a lot further than 100 feet, which is Absolutely. How far she gets. Oh dear. Anyway, killers grab her and kidnap her and settle in for the rest of the plot, because this is where it's all going now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, aside from, because there's actually so we do actually go to a new day, right? Because once they kidnap her, they like take her back to like their evil wood chipper lair, because they put bodies in the wood chipper. And they tie her up, and we actually go to a new day. Dawn breaks. We see the sheriff is once again in that diner. Everyone's just kind of chilling, having their breakfast. And would you believe it? Arriving in town is Maya's sister, right? And her sister's husband, and they've got like a private investigator or bodyguard with them.
Yeah.
It was never really fleshed out exactly what the relationship was here, but he seemed like he was like the guy who knows how to like protect them, in theory. The muscle, if you will.
Yeah. And I kept wondering, like, I really hope, like, they've told other people where they're going, because like, because it's similar to like the last movie when you have like, it's like that random FBI guy or something that comes out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, so if you are investigating these people, like, please tell me that you have like some type of backup for, if you don't come back, or obviously if you disappear or whatever, people know where to like come and look for you.
I mean, this FBI guy from last movie's been killed. This sister came with a bodyguard. There's probably a record of them coming here. They're not going to be returning home. Like, the amount of like evidence piling up. In fact, it's not that much later in this movie where the sheriff kills his deputy because his deputy says he's going to call in outside help, because clearly there's a lot going on here they can't handle. And I'm like, okay, you're now murdering your other cop staff. Clearly, at some point, the military is going to storm this town with machine guns, because everyone who comes here turns up dead.
And presumably, I mean, they've been killing strangers for like, who knows how long. So even if it's just like, one or two people, like, once every couple of years or whatever, like, someone's going to start to notice, like, oh, this person went to this town and was never heard from again, and also lines up with this person disappearing around this time or whatever. Like, especially in this day and age of like, true crime buffs and stuff, I'm sure someone would start to, put things together. That's why it's like, again, so dumb that they basically have like a home base or whatever. Especially if the implication is that they're like, always killing people at that like hotel room or whatever. But like, in the first movie, I kind of got the sense that like they were kind of like these traveling, killers, that they just went to this one house, and again, the famous line, like, why are you doing this or whatever? It's like, oh, because you're home, which again, that's like another thing that they are negating with this movie, where it's like, oh no, they like, pick their victims, and it's, like they picked that one guy because he was a jerk, not necessarily because he was just a random person that they're home. Like, they actually do like, choose people or whatever. But yeah, like, I think it's much scarier that it's like, oh, these are people that could just show up anywhere at any time or whatever, versus like, oh no, they're in like this small, town in the middle of nowhere that, people just end up at.
Yeah, it's just, there's two, it's more Texas Chainsaw this way, where it's like you're traveling through the town and you run into the weird locals. And that's the thing, is like, when they come into the diner here, the sister and like the brother-in-law are like holding up her photo saying, hey, like, she came through here, have any of you seen her? And everyone's just dead quiet. And you really get the impression that everyone in this town just knows that strangers who come through the town end up dead, and they just don't want to talk about it. They're worried that they'll get killed. And it reminded me that last movie and the second one, at least one local person did get killed, because remember there was like a guy who came out with a shotgun and got killed by the killers. So It's not like they've not killed anyone who's local. Maybe they've avoided it for years, and it's just because Maya's like running around, and their victims don't usually do that. That like it's like, oh shit, this is unprecedented territory. We have to, clean up after ourselves, kind of thing. But yeah, it's very strange because there's the one waitress who's like is kind of nice and says, oh, she seemed like a good person. So the sister goes up to talk to her afterwards, and she's like, yeah, it's just, it's just a shame this is happening again. And the sister's like, what do you mean again? And she's like, people, come through here and go missing like all the time. And she's like, interesting. That's very interesting. And they basically just follow the sheriff, and they even like witness the sheriff like moving his like deputy's dead body in a body bag out of the hospital into the back of his car, and they just keep following him. And you're thinking, oh, this is going to go somewhere interesting. We've got this little investigation team who are looking into stuff. Like, there's like one more notable scene with them after they witness the sheriff do that. Literally, the next scene they're in is the scene where they all end up dead. All of them. I mean, the bodyguard goes first. He gets killed like so quickly by the sheriff. It is unreal. I'm like, okay, I'm glad we spent time setting him up as like the badass because he just went down in like 10 seconds. But all right.
I did think it's kind of funny. Like their I guess big idea to find her sister was, I guess we'll just stop in like the local diner and I'll just like take out my phone or iPad or whatever and just show everyone her picture and be like, does anyone see my sister? Like, I don't know. I feel like when you go to like the police station first or something and I like talk to someone there or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That almost implies they already think they can't trust the local police. But I don't know if there was any reason for them to feel that way.
And then like also like, I don't know, if you're the townsfolk, like if you don't want to seem suspicious, like maybe everyone shouldn't just like look at her in silence and then like turn their heads, like like maybe you should be like, oh no, that's awful, but I'm sorry, I haven't seen her or whatever. Like just everyone like looking at her and then just falling deathly quiet is like so much more suspicious than at least giving some type of acknowledgement or whatever.
Yeah, even just admitting, she was in here for like breakfast that one day, and then that's the last we all saw her.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's at least some truth buried in there, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the whole thing with the investigation side of it just kind of leads to them all getting killed. There's a whole big sequence where after the bodyguard gets killed because they've followed the sheriff back to this wood chipper lair. The couple, the sister and the brother-in-law, like hide in like a trailer, and like basically Scarecrow at this point just starts like taunting them a bunch until he rams into it with the truck so it flips over, and then he kills the boy or like the guy, and then ultimately the sister in front of Maya, which is the big moment, is like, hey Maya, watch your sister get killed.
And I did think it's funny when they're like tailing the sheriff, I think they say like, make sure he doesn't see us or something, like the bodyguard guy is like, trust me, he won't know, we're coming. But it's like, this is such a small town and you're just on like a straight, narrow, like back road where it's like, even if you're far away, he's going to see your headlights and stuff and like know that there's only one other car on the road that's like following him. Like, I don't know what his plan was.
Well, that's the thing. When the bodyguard gets out to snoop around, he literally just walks into the area and immediately the sheriff pops out and says, drop your gun, and then immediately shoots him. It's like there's no like waiting. If anything, he didn't even need to say drop your gun. He could have just shot him like right there and then. Like, if anything, it's like why even make him drop his gun first? You've got him by surprise. Who gives a shit at that point? Yeah. Meanwhile, though, the whole killers try to convert Maya thing is we have Scarecrow coming in and like sort of like stroking her hair and whatever. It's like, okay, clearly he's trying to pick a replacement for his romantic love here. But they basically take her to that same gas station from before, and it's like, hey, we're looking for potential victims. And they see this couple, they go back to the motel room, and they're like, all right, they're standing in front of the door. And it was actually kind of weird that we finally hear one of the killers speak when they've got their masks on, because Dollface sort of goes, knock 3 times. And they sort of force her to knock on the door. And then just Dollface says it herself, where she's like, is Tamara here? And it's like, no, there's no Tamara here. And she's like, knock again, bitch. She's like, all right, right. But they go in, right, and they tie up the couple, very similar to how Maya and her boyfriend were tied up in the first movie. And basically, the Scarecrow's like, kill one of them. And Maya's like staring and feeling kind of weird and like doesn't really want to do it. So Scarecrow just grabs the axe and like kills the guy, like hacks him to bits. The girlfriend's screaming. And in a bit of a move, I guess, to try and like circumvent things, Maya grabs the machete that Dollface is holding and stabs her instead. So she actually kills her and stabs her to death whilst Scarecrow is axing the guy. So he doesn't like realize it at first, and he turns around after killing the guy and sees what's happened. And I'm like, oh, it's just you now. Both the girl killers are gone, and now it's just you and Maya. So it's like, okay, I guess we're now, it's just 1 versus 1. The odds have been somewhat evened, I guess.
Which she probably would have had time to like kill him too if she like really wanted to.
Ooh.
Like it seems like there was some missed opportunities. Just another thing again that just feels so like again, you're misunderstanding like all the stuff that was good about the first movie, but like in the first movie it seems like their MO was it was much more of a game. Like they want to freak the people out and like scare them and chase them and all of this stuff, but like here it's like there's none of that. It's just like, yeah, after you knocked a few times you just kick the door in and then go right to the killing. Like there's no chasing or
you say that, but in chapter 1 they did do all the cat and mouse games. It wasn't done very well, it was boring to watch, but they did do it. But yeah, all of a sudden, in this movie, both in the flashbacks and the present day kills, it's like, no, we're just going to barge in, knock them out, tie them to a chair, and then stab them whilst they're tied to the chair. I'm like, oh, this is your thing, this is how you do it, this is so uninteresting. So he grabs Maya, puts the machete in her hand, and guides her hand forward to stab the woman. And basically the woman dies. He pulls the hand back, and I think he says something here in her ear where he's like, now you're free, or something like that, like something to that effect.
Some bullshit.
Yeah. So she's kind of in like almost like a trance-like state at this point, where she still kind of keeps moving with him, even though she probably could just run away. And she gets back in the truck, and it's actually when they drive back to where the trailer and the wood chipper place is. This is where all the stuff with the sister happens, and he comes out with the sister and kills her in front of her, and Maya's like, oh god, my sister. Which is kind of a weird scene, because it's like, we have never seen you two together, and I know you're telling me you're sisters, but it's like, I think maybe there was some text messages, or possibly we heard her voice in a phone call when she was trying to call for help at the start of the last movie, but that's about it.
In the last one, it felt like they were setting her up to be maybe the focus of this one, where I thought it was going to be much more of a them searching for her, and that possibly she would come in and like save the day or something, or it would end up being them trying to escape the killer. But no, like she goes out pretty quick. Like it just feels so like so much of a waste. Like I'm assuming it's probably only there again just to pad out time and have a few extra kills, but it's like, yeah, it just is so utterly pointless. Like there's nothing to it.
Yeah, if anything, you would think that you'd want to force Maya to do it. Is like, hey, this will completely turn you into a killer, as if you kill your own sister, kind of thing. Yeah. And honestly, the whole trying to turn her into one of them is a potentially interesting idea. The part of the problem is, though, is not only do we not care about these characters because the last 2 movies were so bad, so it's almost impossible to give a shit, but it's like, even the way it's like directed and written for these particular scenes where he's telling her to kill someone and then guides her hand into the stabbing and all that, is she just stares blankly, the whole time, right? She, they put the mask on her and she sort of stands there, and it just all feels like you could be playing with this. You could be trying to like show how she's feeling and use the mask to hide that she's starting to maybe get more into it or whatever, or show the turmoil. And I'm not going to blame the actress here, Madelaine Petsch, for like performing poorly, because I think maybe it is just a direction problem where she's been told to act a certain way, but it feels like there's just nothing dynamic going on. Like you're just kind of like watching these long drawn out scenes of her watching and barely reacting to it like she's in a zombie state almost, and there's like nothing to get out of it. It's like in theory you're supposed to be on the edge of your seat of going, oh, is she starting to think about it, is she considering it, is she starting to like it, is that where we're going with this? And it never like convinces you of that, and never does anything to make it feel that way. So it just, I don't know, the whole thing's just tedious to sit through, and then by the time we get to like the sister's death, it's like, okay, we're ready for the final part, the final act, which is, he lets her go. Scarecrow, that's the name. Scarecrow basically says...
You're mixing up your Batman villains.
I know. He cuts her rope and basically lets her go, with the idea being like, hey, you're one of us now, effectively, so you can just leave if you want. I've taken everything from you, so off you go. And Maya is driving his truck out of the town, but does the dramatic like 180 because, no, I'm not letting him get away with it. I'm going back to kill that bastard. And that's kind of the lead in to the final section. She goes in with a shotgun that was in the truck, kills Richard Brake, right, the sheriff, sees him sitting there, kills him, sees the shrine that Scarecrow's got of his girlfriend and all the candles and all that, and he comes in and he just kind of says a couple of vague things, and she's like, take off the mask, I want to see you. And he's like, we took everything from each other, now you're free, now you know what it is, what it feels like, and blah blah. And all of it is just, I mean, also he's terrible in these scenes, like his like I'm going to be ultra intimidating the entire time is just boring to watch. But he gets in her face and I'm like, oh, is he going to kiss her? But he kind of just starts sniffing her neck, but she starts like getting into it, at least she's pretending at least, and like holds his hand a little bit. It's all just like the preamble though to her grabbing his knife out of his like holster and stabbing him. And yeah, this is the big finale. She's like, pretended she was getting into like some sort of new romance with him, stabs him. He lies there smiling as he's bleeding out, saying, oh, that's you, you're free now, like I've created a killer, blah blah blah. And the movie, I shit you not, just ends with her walking away holding his mask in the forest from his lair. And I'm like, oh, are they trying to be ambiguous? Are they trying to say, oh, maybe she's going to start wearing that mask? Maybe she is a killer now, even though she took him out first. Maybe. I don't care, though.
Yeah, all this stuff is incredibly dumb. Yeah, I agree. I didn't really care about any of it. I was just glad when it was over. It's funny because there's like an earlier scene, maybe it was about the time like he lets her go or whatever, like where they're talking to each other. He's basically like sitting down, and I think she says like, I'm gonna kill your son, and he's like, do it, kill me. Like he wants her to kill him, and then she doesn't do it, but only to come back later and then actually like kill him. And it's just like, okay, like I don't know, it doesn't feel as impactful when it's like just earlier he was like telling you to kill him and stuff.
Do it, I'm right here, do it now, kill me, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, all this stuff is very stupid. There's like long stretches too where there's like, I feel like the other movie did this too, where it's just long sections where there's like no talking and it's very quiet and everything, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like when your movie is like very boring, that's like a very tempting, for people just like start nodding off or falling asleep.
I love a quiet. If you can do a movie in silence, almost, it can be very compelling and exciting. If it's like because you're getting inventive with how you show the plot details and how you like show their reactions to things to tell a story. But here, it's like almost this feigned sense of like, oh, you're tense because we've set these things up, and you're wondering what's going through her head as she's just watching them drive to the next location, and it's like. No, it just kind of feels like we're killing time. It feels like we're just waiting as she stares at stuff that she's already seen before now. And like I said, it's not like the character's got that much weight to her where... Because it'd be one thing where if she was a bit more feral, like maybe at the end of the last one, going into this one, where it was like, oh, maybe she did get a taste for it, maybe she actually wants to hunt them down now, that would be one thing. But it's not like she has a goal in this movie. She's just kind of stumbling away at the start, until they grab her, and then she's very passive because she's been kidnapped and she's been forced into all this stuff. It's not until the third act where she does anything remotely proactive, and it's kind of a weird proactive thing because, like you said, she had the chance to just kill him anyway before and didn't take it, and then she decides to go back and do it anyway. There's very little riding on her at this point, other than just whether or not she lives or dies. And let's face it, this movie's not really made us care about her all that much, and we just want it to end. So her whole like storming the castle at the end, going after the killer, just has no excitement to it. There's no weight to it. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it. And even the stuff with, the sheriff's been secretly helping him because he's his dad the entire time. Even that's kind of a nothing burger where he's just sitting there and gets shot. Like, there's nothing interesting about it. Like, the laziest, most predictable outcomes to everything they set up in the first movie all happen, right? Sheriff's helping cover it up. The guy who's intimidating in the second movie is definitely the main killer. Like, all of it just plays out in the most mundane possible way they could have went with it. There's nothing surprising about anything that happens in these movies. And you spread it out over an entire trilogy that is 4.5 hours long. What is wrong with you?
Jesus. I forgot they had those like news stories before. I don't know if there's any updates, but when they're saying about like doing like one big long cut of all three movies, and I'm like, who could possibly care? Like, who would want that? Like, I don't know. I didn't check the box office for this, but I mean, this must have been abysmal. Like, no way this made any money.
Let's find out. I'm curious now that you've brought it up. I don't think it had an obsession-like run. I'm willing to bet. just a guess. Let's see what all three of these bad boys did. Okay. So, Strangers Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3. Number 1, worldwide, made $48 million. I suspect that will be
more than I would have guessed.
I suspect that will be the peak, though. Strangers Chapter 2 made $21 million worldwide.
Probably not what you want.
What happened from the previous one? Yeah, no. Strangers Chapter 3 made $11 million worldwide. So from 48 million to 21 million to 11 million. Plummeting, shall we say. I'm curious, actually, if I look at the domestic, what did it open at its opening weekend? It opened at number 7 with a $3 million weekend. And
for the third one?
Yeah, and was only in theaters for 5 weeks before it was completely gone. And that last week it was in theaters, it only made $97,000 that last weekend.
Jeez.
So
honestly, that's more than I would have expected.
Honestly, it's kind of wild. I can't imagine or think of like a similar comparison here of like a weird like just atrocious set of movies but it was also like like, oh, we're doing a whole trilogy and it's all going to like, but all three of them absolutely suck. It's like such a big misfire. It's one of the the only interesting thing about this trilogy of movies is the fact that it exists. Right? It's interesting on like a analysis level of like, why does this exist? Why did they think it was a good idea? Like the performance of them. The movies themselves to watch though is dull as dishwater. There is nothing exciting going on the entire time, and I was fighting sleep back. I was fighting, like I was constantly having to say, no, don't look at your phone. You want to look at your phone because nothing's happening and you're painfully bored. I need to pay attention though. And I was having to constantly go on and I need to put it down. I need to put it down. I need to put it down because nothing interesting is going on.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like other franchises we've done that like we didn't really like, and yeah, I mean, you know, there's stuff like Saw and, you know, the Resident Evil movies or like maybe like the later Hellraiser stuff, but like, I mean, all those, you know, are bad in their own right, but at least like, you know, they're interesting, or sometimes maybe they're trying to do something different, or, you know, or maybe like, you know, it's not like in Resident Evil's case, like we're passionate about it because we like the games and they're so far removed that, you know, we have lots of things to discuss about, you know, why they're changing this stupid thing or why this part doesn't work or whatever. And yeah, like, you know, the Saw movies are dumb, but like, you know, there's ridiculous stuff we can talk about or make fun of them.
I would rather watch all 10 Saw movies again than watch these 3 Strangers movies again.
yeah, they're just so like completely uninteresting and dull and boring, and yeah, it does. There's a lot of like bad movies that I'm just like, oh yeah, this sucks, and I'll forget about it. And obviously, I'll forget about these, but I don't know, they do make me angry. Just the fact that, yeah, that they do exist because there's just that it is so like pointless. Like, there's no reason it needed to be made. There's no reason it needed to be 3 movies long. And again, it just feels like such a slap in the face to what anyone would have liked about you know any of the other movies. It is it really is bizarre. Like I totally understand why they'd want to make more movies because it had enough of a name that you could probably shit out a few generic sequels or whatever
Oh,
to
sure.
keep the brand alive.
Nice, cheap,
But
then cheap
like,
to make as well, because it's just people in mass killing. So
yeah.
it's like you can do a cheap couple of sequels easily. Yeah.
Yeah, but why not just follow that formula? Like, why go so heavy on, this like one idea and milk it so much? And I mean, look at the box office. Clearly, it's not something that resonated with people. So it's like, yeah, just bizarre that they thought it would. But yeah, like you said, it is interesting to talk about it in the sense that, that it exists. They did this. They went there. But the movies themselves are excruciatingly dull and boring.
Honestly, the closest thing I can just like compare it to in terms of how it made me feel watching it, sadly, is Wolfman from last year. Like, just and how
Sure,
incredibly
yeah, I can
dull
see
and
that.
miserable it is to actually sit through. Like, there's just nothing redeeming or even like entertainingly bad about it. And it's a shame to say that because that's by a good director who that was a big disappointment that was the way it was. But the fact that all 3 of these are in that kind of level of just tedious to sit through is just painful.
Yeah. At least with Wolfman, though, I can say like, okay, I can see where there was an interesting idea here.
Sure.
Like it ended up not working out, but at least I can kind of see like on paper where there's some stuff you're doing that could
Yeah.
potentially be cool.
Which doesn't help
Here it's
it doesn't help the experience of watching it though. But I get what you're saying.
right,
But,
right,
yeah,
right.
you can
Yeah.
at least say, hey, okay, there was an idea here. It's somewhere that you understood why they were trying to do something. But
Yeah,
here,
like
you never know.
this series is just like, before it even started filming, you're already on the wrong foot because it's just such a bad idea. I think.
God, imagine they announce chapters 4, 5, and 6 for next year, and it's like
Yeah.
Madelaine Petsch becomes the new killer and recruits 2 new strangers to go on a spree. And this will actually
Yeah.
build up to the original movie because it was actually her and her friends that killed Liv Tyler and her husband or whatever. Anyway, yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. It's exactly what. And honestly, at this point, I don't even have the passion to get angry and yell about it that much. Like I think in the last one, I was definitely yelling about how just tedious it was and her doing the Rambo like first aid in the forest and stuff like that. But
Right.
here, I just don't have it in me anymore. It sucked the life out of me. It's depressingly bad.
I forget that the last one had a CGI wild boar.
Yeah, that's right. In the car, yeah. Got to pad that runtime with something. And it wasn't even just it was that's the thing. It wasn't even just a wild boar. It was like the killer's pet boar that he let out of the pen to go chase
Right.
her.
Another thing we didn't mention too is like after she gets knocked out and taken to the hideout, like she like semi wakes up and she's getting one of those smiley face tattoos, which um I forget if there was even a reason for those
No.
tattoos. Yeah, is I feel like it's supposed to be like a bigger deal when you see it on someone, but it's just like I just do not care.
I mean, I don't want an explanation, but like, yeah, they're treating it like this thing, this initiation thing, which again just kind of hints at stuff that you don't really want to be thinking about. So, yeah, it sucks. It's terrible, unsurprisingly. So there you go. That is The Strangers Chapter 3. All right, Tim, we have to rate this piece of shit. So what are you giving The Strangers Chapter 3 out of 10?
I think I'll give it a 2. I am tempted to go like pretty low because I just think these are so bad and bottom of the barrel that like I don't know. I do think it could possibly be in like one territory, but I'm just giving it slightly above just by comparison of the other ones, which I feel like the only praise I can give is maybe again slightly more interesting than the other ones, which I thought were also quite bad.
So I want to point out then that you have progressively given these higher scores because you give the first one a 1, you give the second one a 1.5, and you're giving this one a 2. Do you think they have gotten slightly better each time?
Like, in comparison, yes.
Okay. That's fair.
Because if I was going to rate them, I would say this would be the best, followed by the second one, followed by the first one. First one is just so bad because it is just such a pointless retread of a movie and done so much worse. And then, while these other ones, at least they try to do something maybe a little different or had some type of outrageous, dumb thing that was maybe at least worth talking about. But, I mean, it's still not great, but altogether, they're probably all like ones in my mind, but just by comparison, I think they get slightly better.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 1.5. I gave the first one a 2, I gave the second a 1.5, and I think I'm going to stick with a 1.5 for the third one. Arguably, you could say that this one's technically doing the most interesting things it ever does, but at this point, it's too late, and it's so painful to sit through. All the flashbacks are nonsensical, over-explained things, but they're also just wild with how, the judge just lets, you know what, we'll let it go that you murdered someone. And people know that you murdered someone, and yet, when more people might turn up dead, it's just like, oh, well, I guess Daddy Sheriff's taking care of it, so no one ever finds out, even though we're at a point now where literally hundreds, if not thousands of people have went missing in this town as they pass through it. So, yeah, terrible. Absolute garbage. One of the worst movies I'm sure we'll do all year, and when we get to worst movies of 2026, when we get to that sort of in spring next year, guarantee this is going to be fighting for that top spot. It may not be the top spot, but it'll be fighting for it. So, I mean, I hope it's the top spot, because I don't want to watch something worse than this, but we don't get to decide that. So, hey. There we go. That is The Strangers, Chapter 3, done. We're finished with a stupid trilogy. We don't have to watch any more of them. I am delighted by that news. Which does raise the question, though, of what are we doing next time on the show? Well, we're doing another 2026 movie that came out a couple months ago, and that is Undertone. So that is what we're going to be discussing next week on Screams. But of course, you can support Screams After Midnight by going to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and signing up over there. Get access to the back catalogue of bonus episodes, get access to the Even More Scream segments, because we do those most weeks. We did a Mount Rushmore of horror redheads when we recorded this one, so that'll be up there soon, if that sounds like a fun little conversation to check out. But it does make the show possible, thanks to everyone who already supports us. And you also, of course, get bonuses for the other movie shows, like Collector's Cut and Atomic Cinema Experiment. So go check out those. But yeah, that is the show. That is us. Like, subscribe, ding the bell, comment, let us know what you thought of the movie. If you're unfortunate enough to have seen it, helps out a bunch. So that is the show. That's been Screams After Midnight, everyone. The movie broke Tim, apparently. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Keep watching scary movies. Is Tamara here?